Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to Season 5 of Lessons in Marketing Excellence. I'm Pavni Mittal and today's campus round comes from Xavier School of Management or Xlri Jamshedpur. The 64-year-old institution is one of the oldest management schools in South Asia and is among India's top 10 B schools. Xlri has had an interesting association with Lime over the years. It was placed 8th in Season 1, moved up to the 5th spot in Season 2. In Season 3, the institute slipped to the 9th position and it slipped further in Season 4 where the team was placed last. Will this year prove different? Let's wait and watch. The case study for Xlri comes from one of the world's leading sportswear brands, Puma. Now, Puma launched in India in 2005 and currently runs more than 250 stores across the country. It has a market share of around 28%, making it the second largest sportswear brand in the country. But it is largely seen as a sports lifestyle brand and wants to become a stronger player in the performance category. The challenge therefore for Xlri is to develop a marketing strategy to increase Puma's market share in this category from 25% to 35%. Sportswear in India is an estimated 3,500 crore rupee category which has witnessed rapid growth in the last few years, driven by rising income levels, changing lifestyles and the entry of foreign players. Puma, which positioned itself as a sports lifestyle brand in 2013, embarked on the year of performance innovation by introducing a slew of technologically advanced products in performance wear, especially running. With the sportswear industry looking at a surge in the performance space, Puma is looking to capitalize on it and establish itself as a leading brand here.
What we want out of the case is ideas, suggestions on how we should deal with this sports performance category, a category where after having established ourselves as a sports lifestyle brand would be some kind of a repositioning probably is required, because in this category you have Nike, Adidas and Reebok who are hardcore looking into that category. But we want to have our own take into that category, and we have launched some fantastic products in this space, and we want to see how we create a market for ourselves in this category.
It's now time to meet our two teams from Xlri. They call themselves Team Limelight and Team Ingenius. So how do you guys feel? Are you confident? Are you excited? Are you nervous?
So it's a mixture of all those feelings. We've worked really hard for this day and let's see what happens in the evening.
Okay, all the best to you. And what about you guys?
I think it's a little bit of everything, nervousness more than anything else.
Okay, but we're not going to let you proceed to the presentation round. You'll have to pay some penalties for that. We're in your football field. We're going to have penalty kicks. Each of you get 5 kicks each. You can decide who takes as many, so between the 3 of you. And you'll obviously have to nominate a goalkeeper for the other team as well. And the team that wins gets to decide which team goes first in the evening. Okay? Should we start? Okay, so that was tough competition, but you guys scored the maximum goals. You have won this challenge. The ball's in your court now. Which team do you think should go first today?
We want them to go first.
Is there a particular reason for that?
We just want to get a sense of how things are, settle in and then go second.
Okay, so you guys will be going first and you guys will be going second. With that, it's time for a short break. On the other side, our two teams will make their presentation and we'll find out which of them makes it to the semi-finals. That's up in a bit.
I think that Ingenius is going to win.
Ingenius, because it has one of the best marketing brains on campus like Suraj Menon and Sahil Kalra.
I'm rooting for Limelight. Probably they'll win this time.
I had seen them, preparing the case. So they had gone into the Jamshedpur markets. They had studied.
Welcome back. You're watching Season 5 of Lessons in Marketing Excellence and we are at Xlri Jamshedpur. It's now time for our two teams to make the presentation. The team that wins today qualifies for the semi-finals, wins 50,000 rupees and a fast-track route to the pre-placement interview round at Hindustan Unilever. But before we go into that, let's meet our judges. Our brand mentor today is Abhishek Ganguly from Puma. From CNBC TV 18, we have Anant Rangaswamy, and our third mentor from Hindustan Unilever, Harman Dhillon, couldn't make it today, so she's joining us from Mumbai through video conference. Welcome, judges. So let's call our first team, Team Ingenius, to come and make its presentation. Team, you know the rules. You have 3 minutes to make your presentation. At the end of 3 minutes, we'll sound the buzzer indicating the end of time. That will be followed by a quick Q&A with the judges. The floor is open to you. All the best. Your time starts now.
The objective was to understand the key drivers for the performance category and increase Puma's market share for the same. Our primary research included in-depth interviews, mind maps, and surveys. The sample was distributed across students, housewives, gym goers, and professional athletes. The major drivers for the category revealed themselves as increasing fitness consciousness, the large number of national and international sports events, and the rise in discretionary spends. The focus was to understand purchase drivers, product attributes, process of information search, and the current brand perception for Puma.
Coming to consumer insights, we observed that Puma performed poorly on top-of-the-mind recall. However, aided recall was high, but it was seen that it did not translate into a purchase decision. Also, poor visibility of promotional campaigns, especially on television, weak presence on digital channels, and social networking sites had resulted in a weaker perception of the technological superiority and strength of the brand. Comfort and technical features came out as the most important factors for purchase, and most of the buying happens through exclusive stores, but the online sector is also growing very fast. Nike and Adidas seem to be closer to the ideal brand profile than Puma was, especially on inputs like technological features, comfort, and price. Friends and family, followed by in-store sales staff, are the major influencers in buying decisions. Coming to segmentation strategy, we target Sec A and B, which constitute 32.6% of the population. We further segment this on the basis of age groups and lifestyle. First come the experiencers from 13 to 17, strivers from 17 to 25, achievers from 25 to 40, and after that, the fulfills.
So based on these consumer insights and the results that we found from performance drivers, we have 3 broad recommendations that we would like to make. The first of these is an integrated marketing campaign called Technology for the Human Race, focusing extensively on television, print, and digital channels, where Puma traditionally does not have a presence. The aim of the campaign is to emphasize and communicate that Puma is a high-performance and technology-driven brand. All 3 media will drive traffic to online Puma stores. We also aim to improve buzz and share of voice through the use of key influencers and engagement with sports channels. Coming to a selling strategy, we want to talk about building Puma performance stores and performance zones within Puma stores, which focus on high-end, premium, performance-oriented products, sales force training for upselling, and for technical awareness, bringing in professional coaches and trainers in-store for on-ground activation, and increasing the focus on performance-oriented visual merchandising. The last recommendation we would like to make is to increase consumer engagement with a segmented approach through tie-ups at school level, sponsoring sports teams, catching them young, building the brand loyalty, extending urban stampede to schools and colleges. For strivers, focusing on gymming and sports clubs, tie up with these, extensively use digital QR codes and bring them into the advocate program. And for achievers, through corporate tie-ups and coaching programs, leveraging the relationship that you already have with Runners for Life. To sum up, we would like to say that out of the 4 Ps that constitute a marketing mix, Puma has 3 of them right in place. What we need to do is focus more on promoting the fact that Puma is a high-performance brand and not a run-of-the-mill fashion lifestyle brand.
It's a no-brainer that you have suggested that spend more marketing dollars, right? But at the end of the day, does marketing dollars always translate into sales? Example, Nike spends the maximum number of maximum marketing money in India, but Nike is the number 4 brand in the country.
The idea that we are trying to communicate is that for Puma to gain traction as a high-performance brand, it is not going to be one big bang. It is going to be a series of incremental changes. All of the measures that we are proposing are not very big in terms of spend, but they will give you reach. They will give you increased brand awareness. And what they will give you is a change in the perception of Puma from being just a fashion lifestyle brand to a performance brand.
Today we are the country's #1 sports lifestyle brand, and that's clearly coming across in your analysis. Now that has also been achieved with low spends on marketing because we believe in profitability as a company strategy. How could we establish ourselves strongly on the lifestyle segment without spending so much of marketing money and above the line advertising? And why do we need so much of marketing dollars in performance?
Right now, if you see the performance segment, there are already players and global players, big players who are there. And what we are trying to say is, you have probably Yuvraj Singh as the brand ambassador. So trying to relocate the energies and move towards the sports segment. So even now, Yuvraj Singh is being positioned as a lifestyle ambassador. Or for example, Chitrangada is a lifestyle ambassador. Reposition them and get them towards the performance segment.
We have a few numbers that we pulled up. So on Facebook, on Twitter, which is where your performance segment TG is, Puma currently on both social networks is 5-digit platform. The advantage that your strong lifestyle positioning brings to the table is that anybody can make a black t-shirt and put 3 stripes or a tick mark on it. Point is that Puma products are trendy. Puma products are the kind of products that will appeal to the TG. The problem is that people don't see Puma as a performance brand. People see Puma as a lifestyle brand. How do we change that? How do we increase the share of the pie, get more of the people who would not consider Puma as a performance brand to start evaluating us as a performance brand? And some of the ideas that we are proposing are incredibly low-key in terms of the amount of marketing dollars that you spend.
So the deliverable for the case was to become the brand of choice for serious runners, but the recommendation that you are giving is for varied segments. So my question is, what would be the bullseye target audience that you have crafted this case around?
So we're looking at Sec A and B, which is the upper 32.6% of the population. People who are fitness oriented, middle class, Sec A, B, who are oriented towards a fitness conscious lifestyle, which is something that we are seeing emerging. How do you get these guys to consider you? That's my bullseye TG.
So just clarify to me, from this bullseye TG, would you be getting serious runners to consider you as a brand of preference versus Nike and Adidas?
The challenge for Puma is to look at the guy who does a 9-to-5 job, comes back, runs 5 kilometers in the evening. How do I start converting him to a serious runner? Which is where my ad campaigns come in. When I get key influencers, when I get people who run, compete over distances to endorse these brands on a digital platform, when I start mentoring them, giving them memberships to RFL, when I start putting in-store activations where these guys can come in, talk to people, get tips on how they're going to improve their running technique, what is the right way to run, and things like that, that is where your push is going to come from.
I wanted to ask you, you underlined a lot about the role that family and friends play in influencing the purchase decision. Do they play a role at all in performance?
Our sample is a heterogeneous consumer base. When you start talking about performance athletes, they are more likely to go with what is available. Because one of the things that we see is that consumers don't really know how to evaluate performance.
But will they ask family and friends is my question?
Yes,
or will
they
ask
because they don't know how to evaluate performance as such.
Then why are you bringing in influencers? I'll just keep family and friends. Why do I want influencers?
One of the things that we talk about is the second biggest influencer after family and friends is in-store staff.
You wanted high-performance athletes, successful athletes. Now you want them, then you want family and friends, and then you want in-store assistants. I mean, they don't go together. One of them is wrong somewhere.
I wouldn't agree with you, sir. It's very likely to be that the average consumer who's running for fun or running for exercise is very likely to consult his friends and family when it comes to that decision. Right now, with absolutely no traction on any of these digital media platforms, I have no other avenues to turn to, which is something that even Nike Running India does not do, for example. The moment you start getting these people into the mix, which is when they start playing an impact. So the idea is that we don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Thank you, team. It's now time for a short break. On the other side, Team Limelight will make its presentation and we find out which of the two makes it to the semi-finals. That's up in a bit.
Oh, they're tough as nails. Tough as nails. So they force you to think on your feet more than what you anticipate. So obviously you do your homework, you come in with certain amount of preparation and then you find out that they're asking you something that you hadn't thought of. So that happens, yes. The chances of winning are always 50-50 in a case like this. So we're just going to wait and watch.
Welcome back. You're watching Lessons in Marketing Excellence Season 5 and we are at Xlri Jamshedpur. It's now time for our second team, Team Limelight, which won the team challenge today to make its presentation. Team, you have 3 minutes to make your presentation. At the end of 3 minutes, we'll sound the buzzer. You'll have to stop then. That will be followed by a Q&A with the judges. All the best. Your time starts now.
The objective of the presentation is to help Puma establish itself as the go-to brand in the sports performance space. Through a primary and secondary research, we wanted to understand A, what sport means to people who are involved in it, and B, the different perceptions and requirements that people associate with sports and fitness. We identified that the central problem with Puma is that though it scored high on awareness and recall, it wasn't the preferred brand for the performance products. For the purpose of this case study, we will focus on a subsection of the performance category, running. We classify our respondents into two groups. One, the general runners who are conscious about fitness, and two, the serious runners who practice running as a lifestyle choice with a focus on performance.
Beginning with the general runners. Based on the responses, we prepared an associative map for sports performance. Keywords which were repeated by about 50% respondents were success, shared, Sachin, family, and fitness. The key takeaway from the associative map is that performance for sportspersons also means sharing their success with family and friends. Taking this idea forward, we tried to compare how different sports brands in the market fare against the way the sportspersons think. We created a perceptual map with low to high product performance on one axis and individualistic to associative, that is, collaborative orientation of the brand on the other. We observed that most of the leading brands like Nike, Adidas, Puma, etc. are in a cluttered quadrant, which is high on performance but individualistic in nature. Our suggestion is that Puma needs to break out of this clutter and reposition itself as a sports lifestyle brand with undertones of care, affection, and sharing. The above-the-line campaigns will be developed keeping in mind how friends and family play an instrumental role in an individual's success. We suggest that Puma targets the general runners in the corporate sector, specifically because A, they have a higher discretionary income, B, there is a higher need of fitness due to their sedentary lifestyle. We propose two initiatives. First, Puma Sporty Family. Puma coordinates the family day in various corporate offices, conducts various sporting events where the entire family participates, and the winner is crowned the Puma Sporty Family. The next campaign is called Ditch the Lift campaign, which encourages employees to use stairs by placing banners on the lift doors, indicative calorie loss stickers on the stairs, etc.
Moving on to the serious runners, our research revealed that serious runners have an inherent need to constantly monitor their progress, and they like to get regular feedback on their areas of enhancement. Hence, we propose the introduction of Puma Fitness Level Indicator, which will serve two purposes. One, establish a standard of measurement for fitness, and two, gives them an index to monitor their progress. To implement this, we propose the Run Knowledgeably campaign, a targeted approach to reach out to the serious runners in specific areas. Probable locations include gyms, beaches, and joggers parks in major cities, and this could be done early in the morning when they generally run. Through this campaign, we aim to engage closely with the serious runners and establish Puma as a serious sports performance brand. We think that this should be driven by the Runners for Life, with whom Puma already has an association. We will identify members of RFL in every city, train them, and keep them updated with the latest happenings. They will act as opinion leaders and bring credibility to our initiative.
Do you really think when it comes to hardcore performance, you might want to share your success with family, but when it comes to product choices, do you think that you will go back to your dad and ask what you want to buy?
The idea for the repositioning was to associate success with friends and family, simply because we'll quote examples here. Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, they always bring in their families into their games. If you see, these are sports which are highly individualistic, but somewhere all the sportsmen associate it with families. As far as your point goes about selling and recommending the products, our research shows that most of the serious runners, around 42% of the serious runners look towards their peers or towards their coaches. In India, we associate coaches as a part of our family because we spend so much time with them. It was a carryover of the fact that most of the serious runners do treat their coaches as their family members.
I just want a clarity from you. Assuming you are saying general runners are the bigger pie for the business, what is the underlying assumption? That do they already treat Puma at par in performance with Nike and Adidas?
Based on our research and our primary and secondary research, we found that Puma, with its positioning as a sports lifestyle brand, automatically it follows from their positioning that particularly with respect to performance category, Puma is slightly behind Nike and Adidas. Actually, Adidas was ranked #1 in terms of the performance segment itself.
How do you plan to bridge the gap between Puma and Adidas? Because your emotional connect is going to be secondary.
Based on our primary research, we see that the influence on purchase decision, most of these general runners that we are talking about, people who are interested in fitness, who visit gyms regularly, who play sports just for their leisure, around 3 or 4 times in a week. Around 42% of these people look into their peers who are doing well in sports, or they look into their coaches to make a decision for sports performance products. So we believe that sports performance products, we believe that the BTL strategy which we have given will activate these coaches and these people who are into serious sports, and it will have an indirect impact on the it will have an indirect impact on the general runners who will get influenced by this serious runners.
What you're recommending for the performance runner works on your measurement, keeping track their fitness levels and so on and so forth. How many hospitals are capable of giving you this measurement? Have you even thought through? You're going to give me body fat, oxygen uptake, cholesterol, muscle strength, cardio, stride length, stamina level, agility, flexibility, power.
Sir, the proposition for serious runners talks about the program which is being held at the places where they run.
Right.
So, the serious runners often do not have the time to visit hospitals to measure their performance.
So now Puma will have to get into a collaboration with Apollo Hospital or something.
No,
One new business.
So just for an example, say a Marina Beach in Chennai, which has a lot of people actually are into running there. The serious runners actually go there to run. So we do a campaign twice in a month where we go there with our RFL runners, with our ambassadors, and the Puma fitness level indicator is a standard, which is a cumulative measurement of the various suggested parameters that we have given. Through that, through the various tests that we run there, we can actually certify the serious runners.
No, have you thought of the practical aspects of measuring all this? What are you going to do? Set up a hospital there, or what are you going to do?
Yes, so in the short term, these are just suggested parameters.
Absolutely, but it's the bedrock of everything. So either they do it, or should they do it or not?
Yes, sir. We believe that they should go ahead with it.
So how will they do it?
Setting up a kiosk, bringing people in would involve a lot of effort in the short term, but every BTL activity that any company undertakes would involve that. So we believe that they should probably have a tie-up with, say, Apollo Hospital. All of this is assuming that every parameter.
So they'll do this in 200 cities in India.
So it's only for the major cities in India, as it's clear.
Thank you, team. I'd request you to please step outside while the jury deliberates and pens down its final results.
The experience was very good. It was very challenging. We thought that our presentation went well, but we were grilled a lot during the Q&A session. We were waiting anxiously for the results. I would say it's still 50-50 because we didn't get to see the other presentation, but let's see.
Okay, first I'm going to ask the audience, how many of you think team Limelight won? Okay. And how many of you think team Ingenius won? Okay, that's a majority. And the audience is correct. Team Ingenius, you guys have won the campus round from Xlri. Congratulations. That brings us to the end of this campus round at Xlri Jamshedpur. Join us next week for a wildcard round where 9 teams from B schools across the country will battle it out for 3 spots in the semi-finals. Until then, thanks for watching.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.